All right, in this video I'm going to be going over the test review questions for the Magic Gourd. Okay, number 1, what lesson does each of the main characters learn from the events in the story? So this is one question, but it could have many parts, and in fact I would argue that there are at least 3 main characters in this story. You have the chameleon, you have the rabbit, and then you have the greedy king. So I would say for this, what lesson did each of the main characters learn from the events in the story? You would have to explain to me what chameleon learned from the different things that happened, what rabbit learned from the things that happened in the story, and what the greedy king learned from the things in the story. And then the second part of the question asks you to use evidence to support your answer. So if you say, you know, the chameleon learned about repaying people who are kind to you, okay? Let's say that's the lesson you want to say chameleon learned. You need to go back in the text and find evidence. Where did chameleon learn that lesson? What happened in the story that caused chameleon to learn that lesson? Okay, so you have to make sure you answer all the parts of the question. Okay, and remember, these boxes will get bigger. You can just keep typing. So don't think the size of the box means that's when you're finished with the answer. You're finished with the answer when you've addressed all the parts of the question. All right, number 2, why do you think Rabbit left all the gold and food the king had given him? Okay. So that's one part of this question. So I'm going to highlight that in yellow. And then the second part, so if you just answer this, you're only doing half the work. So the second part is explain your reasoning. Why do you think that? What causes you to believe that? What happens in the text that makes you think that you are right? Now, this is just your opinion, so really you can think whatever you want. But you need to have the evidence. You need to be able to explain why you think that, okay? So you need to be able to look back in the book and say, I think Rabbit left all the gold and food to the king because, and you say why, and then say, I think this because, and then tell me what Rabbit does in the story to make you think that that's why he left the gold, okay? All right, number 3. Name 2 major events in the plot of the Magic Gourd and explain why they are important. So the first part of this question is name 2 major events in the plot of the Magic Gourd. So these are 2 major things that happen in the story. So for example, I'll give you one major thing. One of the first major things was Rabbit helping chameleon and therefore getting the magic gourd from him in the first place. That is a major event. If that thing didn't happen, we wouldn't even have a story. So that's one example of a major event. So you need to come up with at least 1 more of your own, or you can come up with 2 of your own. You don't have to use the one I just used. I would say there's at least 3 major events in this story. You can choose 2 of the 3, or if you find a 4th that maybe I haven't thought of, as long as you can show evidence as to why you think that's a major event, that's fine. So one major event would be Rabbit helping chameleon and getting the gourd as a gift for helping him, and then you come up with 1 more major event. And then the second part of this, though, is explain why they are important. So I kind of did that already for the first example I gave. The major event was Rabbit helping chameleon and getting the magic gourd as a gift of thanks. And it's important because if that had not happened, none of the other events in the story could have taken place. Okay? So come up with 1 more major event and then why that event is important in the story. And then cite your evidence. Okay. So I would say one major event is when Rabbit helps Chameleon and gets the gourd in return, the magic gourd in return. It's important because without that event taking place, none of the other events in the story would have happened. And I can prove it because in the story, let's see, on page on page 220, for example, that's where it talks about Brother Rabbit now sharing the contents, what's inside the magic gourd, sharing the food from the magic gourd with other people, which causes the greedy king to find out. So if he would have never gotten that magic gourd, no one would have found out about the magic gourd, and the greedy king would not have found out about the magic gourd and tried to have stolen it from the rabbit. Okay, so that's where I can find evidence that, hey, if that first thing wouldn't have happened, the rest of the story events could not have taken place. And my evidence is found on page 220. All right, thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.